Hi guys, today is the 26th of August 2020. It's 32 minutes past 1 in the afternoon over here in the UK. I find this video a bit hard to make because my mind is just going all over the place. But I'll try. The first thing I want to talk about is today's news in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where vigilantes have taken to the streets after the Wisconsin governor reportedly refuses to send additional troops in. This is because protests have turned into riots over the police shooting of Jacob Blake. Some of you may or may not be aware of that. You can easily find more information if you Google it. So I feel we've got one connection there. Then we've got the goat, which is a child goat, so it's a kid in a box, which is like a cage. So that gives you a reference to Texas and things that will happen in there. And the goat's head spins around like a hurricane. And of course, just like the George Bush character later in the video, that kind of gives us a reference to a hurricane coming into Texas, as the goat kid in a cage gives us a reference to Texas, and George Bush is from Texas. I've also pointed out that his wife's name is Laura and the hurricane's name is Laura, so maybe that gives you more of a connection to this hurricane coming into Texas. Now, it's going to be touching down in Texas around the 27th tomorrow. So I've pointed out many 27s in this scene. You guys who followed my channel, you know that I've been kind of crazed with the number 27 or 711 in its other variation. And that's when the hurricane's kind of coming in. Now, the goat's head spins around 3 times, and that may give us a reference to the time that the hurricane comes in, because 3 o'clock UK time, the hurricane is just off the coast of Texas, but 3 o'clock Eastern time, the hurricane has made landfall. So that may be, it kind of syncs up too well to kind of be ignored. I also think that the goat's head spinning around 3 times may give us a reference to 3 days later, as in what's happening in the background. Now, I feel like obviously this is a reference to New York with the 9/11 Twin Tower reference, but it could also be a connection to another event that happens in New York. And I feel that the elements of wind, earth, fire, and water are kind of being used in this in this video to create chaos. So the wind event taking place in Texas, and I feel quite strongly that the fire event would be connected to New York. You've just got that NY reference in the flames. 3 days later, if that's a reference from the first scene, obviously that will bring us to the 30th if the hurricane's touching down on the 27th, and then you have that potential 3-0 over here. So keep an eye out for anything like that in New York. I feel that we have a strong water reference to the UK, maybe London in particular. The shark gives you the pound coin symbol sideways, kind of like it's fallen. So it should be straight up vertical, but it's tipped to the right. Then you've got the number 2 here, followed by the number 7, the 8 teeth in the middle there. That could be telling us 8/27. Of course, I do bear in mind that when I'm saying August and I say number 8, that on the Roman calendar, that's October. So I will be keeping an eye out in October if none of these events take place in tomorrow. But you got to admit, with the vigilantes and the hurricane approaching, that's kind of 2 very strong connections happening around the same time. And obviously, let me finish this first. So yeah, 8/27 with the shark reference just there. So, and the pound coin symbol. So I feel like that water reference comes in again. In this scene, I pointed out how many things. This scene, I pointed out how many things connect to the UK. The Alice in Wonderland, written by Carol L. Lewis, a UK author. The blue, red, white colour scheme of emergency lights. The black and white tiles of Freemasonry started in Scotland. The apple, which was brought to the United States from the UK, and all of these people are blue, like they've drowned or they're breathless, something to do with. Obviously, when the skin turns blue, it's an oxygen thing, so that could be a reference to being underwater. And then we have this scene here with the pound coin partially under Obama's foot with the crown facing upwards. That could have connection with something happened with the Queen. And obviously, if the Queen dies, that could affect the value of the pound um, in terms of trade, because the whole country would stop trading, which would obviously affect the pound coin, so or the value of the pound. So have to keep an eye out for that tomorrow or at some point, maybe this year, with the Queen dying, perhaps. But also you've got the water reference in there again. So with the pound coin being underfoot, it could be a reference to maybe 12 foot under, which is the size of Obama's foot, size 12. So I'm just taking that reference from there. But you've also got kind of like a 7 just here, which could give you a reference to 7 foot under, which is closer to 6 foot under, which is more of a depth reference. But that could be in reference to water, some event taking place which causes a flood of some kind in the UK. Just interpretations, but I'm just putting it out there. The reason I'm also kind of pointing out more UK references again is because in this scene here, I interpreted in a video a while back that when you're seeing these birds flying up, escaping, it's a reference to the Tower of London. The myth around the Tower of London is that the ravens that abide there, if they were to escape or to fly away, then destruction for the UK and or the monarchy, which is the Queen, would soon follow. So when I saw this story published 6 days ago on the 20th of August about the ravens straying from the Tower of London because of a lack of tourists, it kind of made me want to make this video even more. So you got Vigilantes presented in the iPad Go-To video, a hurricane approaching Texas, presented in the iPad Go-To video, the ravens flying out of the Tower of London, in my opinion, presented in the iPad Go-To video in this scene, and it's all happening around now. So it made me want to make this video even more, because I just feel like, yeah, maybe there could be something happens tomorrow. I'm also looking out for events around RNC, as I talked about yesterday. Perhaps an event that takes place there, and that causes chaos between the two parties, Democrats and Republicans. Maybe Republicans, QAnon followers, Trump followers, so on and so forth, accuse the Democrats of doing it, and things spiral out of control from there. You already have vigilantes on the streets, so there could be more chaos to follow. I think there will be more chaos to follow. And obviously, we've already seen in this year the stock market collapsing and then kind of coming back. But any of these events take place, the stock market would collapse again, which would bring us right back into this scene here, where we see that market plunge reference in the eyes here, and then we have war coverage. So it's basically a message of whatever's caused the markets to plunge has also caused war. So look out for an event that can be blamed on someone else. I say the likely people they're going to blame is Iran or North Korea. In my opinion, more likely Iran, because they've been going after Iran for a very long time. And these scenes, as well as connecting to Lebanon, in my opinion, have references to the nuclear facility under the mountain in Iran, where they may try and reduce it to rubble. But obviously, Iran has underground ballistic missile bases, which they tested for the first time this year. I think it was within this month. I put out that report. And I feel, again, that has connections to this scene here, where we have Osama bin Laden's hands raising up. I feel Osama bin Laden represents the Middle East, Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan as well. You've got these soldiers in the background looking like missiles. So the suggestion, you're kind of raising up the arms suggestion of missiles coming up out of the ground. You've got all this smoke around surrounding as well, which kind of happens when you launch missiles. You see that trail of smoke. The bird wings in the background, they kind of connect me to the birds that fly up out of the mosque, or referencing the Tower of London. So maybe the suggestion is that the UK is involved with whatever happens in the Middle East, which is possible because the three B-2 bombers that we see in this scene here were training in the UK just in March of this year. So perhaps whatever is blamed on Iran, the retaliation comes from the UK, a closer launching ground, and then the UK suffers responses because of that, perhaps using Iran's underground ballistic missiles. There's a lot of interpretation in this video. I really didn't mean for it to be so much in one, but as I sit and I talk, more things just keep coming to my head. But I think I'll end it there just to keep the video short and sweet. We are looking out for a number of events potentially taking place tomorrow. Certain events are going to be the hurricane coming into Texas, power outages, that's definitely going to happen. Whether we see anything taking place in the UK in relation to the Queen or any flooding, I'm sure you'll be aware. If it does happen, the news will pick it up and you'll be able to see it. Following on from that, just 3 days later, looking out for events around New York potentially, because we have that reference of the number 30, not just in the burning house, which also resembles a boat from bird's eye view, and a nuclear missile with that 0 and 3 or 30. You've also got that same reference within the apple, which gives you that New York reference as well. 1, 2, 3, and the 0, and the 8 forming in the middle. So perhaps August 30th, the New York event takes place. The last event would be the earthquake, and that would complete the 4 elements of wind for Texas, fire for New York, water for the UK, and an earthquake, I would say, would be for California. I'm only saying that because it's Kali with the number 9 underneath her feet who's doing the stamping, and obviously Kali can be interpreted as the first 4 letters of the state of California. And with the fire in the background, that really does connect you to California with the wildfires that are taking place there right now. So all of it is connecting. So when Kali's stamping on the ground with the fire in the background, you have to be considering that that is an interpretation for a magnitude 9 or a magnitude 6, although a 6 wouldn't be as relevant as a 9. Earthquake taking place around California. There's a San Andreas fault and other fault lines. All of the fault lines just went from my memory. I'm sure you guys will update me. Marion, I can't remember. Please, all the fault lines that are around California, you can list them in the comments. But yeah, earthquake for California. It doesn't necessarily say when that would occur, but if it is going to occur around this time, then it would be at the same time as the wildfires are taking place and not before they go out. So that puts us in this time frame as well. And obviously the 5th element is metal, and metal is a reference to war. So if you've got events that are being blamed on other countries, then that kind of brings it into the loop. With all of that said, that completes this video. Keep your eyes open tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after, all the way up until the end of August, and for the rest of this year. Unfortunately, if these events do take place, then there won't be any kind of off days, we'll have to constantly be watching and be aware and be safe. Always spread the message of love, though. That's the one thing I've just got to kind of put in there right at the end. Um, One of the things that always comes to my mind when I'm seeing all of the vitriol and the animosity that we have towards each other is the love waxing cold part of the Bible, which seems to just be rapidly taking place so much quicker than I thought it would. Um, so yeah, if you can keep love in your heart and, as Jesus says, hold on to the very end, then you will be saved. We will be saved. So with that said, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.